That's what Gay Pride Day is. Well, that was also the day that they abandoned the right to be left alone as their goal, and they adopted the goal of supremacy. Total control of all the cultural, political, and social institutions in their own hands, or the hands of people that are their total allies. And they began in 1973. Actually, in 72, they met in Chicago. 200 homosexual organizations met in Chicago. They came up with the first gay rights platform. That's in this book right here. I've got a copy of the 72 platform in here and the 1993 updated platform. You know, people say, well, what gay agenda? What gay agenda? Well, of course, they've got an agenda. Any movement has an agenda. It's just a list of things to accomplish. And they have several of them that are published. Well, once they got organized all together on that theme, then they began what was called the Long March Through the Institutions. Anybody heard that phrase before? The Long March Through the Institutions, that was, once again, that was a Marcusian strategy, because he taught that you work inside the system, not outside the system. You just simply take it over. And that's what they began doing. 1973, they took down the American Psychiatric Association simply by harassment and intimidation, brown shirt tactics. They would go into the conferences where the doctors were, and they would kick over tables, they would shout them down, they called them war criminals, and after a while they couldn't take it anymore. They capitulated, they let the gays into the power structure, and then once they were in there, they forced a vote. This wasn't science, this was a political vote, and they controlled the mailing list. It was a vote by mail. They controlled the mailing list, and of course they won. And then they have never given up. They've always had control of the APA ever since. And that's just been the same with every single other entity that they've taken down over the years. Once they got control of it, they never gave it back up again. I don't know of a single entity, I don't know if you passed, I don't know of a single entity that they have conquered over the past 40 years that we have ever taken back from them. And it only took them 40 years to defeat every single secular opponent that they had, the last one being the Boy Scouts of America in 2013. So 73 to 2013, that's just 40 years, 40, the biblical number of testing. And so we are in so after that, once the Boy Scouts went down, the one before the Boy Scouts, that was the U.S. military. The U.S. military was taken down the year before, and when they repealed, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a compromise that we didn't have to make. In fact, my friend Colonel Ron Ray, was the attorney who actually was the attorney who was fighting Don't Ask, Don't Tell. When back at the beginning, there was no Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was just, no, you're not going to do it. And we actually won that case, and then the military hierarchy went ahead because of political pressure, and they accepted it. They put the compromise in anyway. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was the compromise. Then, once enough time had passed, and these guys have been working a long, long-term strategy, they got a long horizon. Then they just went for the repeal once they knew the time was right, and they did